Hey guys, welcome back to another video. This is another book review. This is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. It's about a couple that basically owns a business, but they're pretty much divorced. And in the midst of them, basically before their divorce, they ended up having two deaths in the family. And one of the deaths was the character Josiah's aunt, and the other one was their baby. They already had two children already. So this would be their third child who basically pretty much died. Well, passed on. I didn't mean to say that. Passed on as a stillbirth pregnancy. So with that being said, after the passing of the aunt and the baby, the character Yasmin, she pretty much goes into a depression that made her not be pretty much present, and it made the character Josiah go pretty much work at the restaurant and everything. So their restaurant is called Grits, and it's a very popular restaurant in Atlanta. So with these two, they pretty much divorced. She wanted the divorce, he agreed, and she had to go to therapy. He didn't want therapy. What man wants to sit here and talk to somebody about their issues or problems? But with that being said, their child, who was basically 10, Kasim, he had to basically go to therapy because of his teacher, because the teacher wanted to sit here and help him basically skip a grade. Their daughter, Deja, she's not in therapy. But when the divorce happened and the passing of the family members, they spoke to a guidance counselor, but that was only a few times. But with that being said, in order for Josiah to sit here and go to therapy, he promised his son Kasim to basically go to therapy. So now he's in therapy, and he's basically working out his own issues, not just from their marriage, but his aunt and things like that. So in the midst of all of that, both of them basically, Josiah moved on, dated, and Yasmin, she basically pretty much go on a few dates with this congressman. So with that, Josiah, he started to feel like the relationship that he was currently in wasn't working. So he had to let the person go. And then even with therapy, it basically pushed him to basically go back to Yasmin. And next thing you know, they had a business trip. They ended up talking, and they pretty much, in a sense, it's not reconciliation, but it's basically, it was a push for them to basically understand where they fell off at. So they ended up pretty much getting back together and trying to understand why, basically on where they basically left off at. Now with their children, with Deja and Kasim, it's like this. Deja had animosity towards both, and basically towards Yasmin, and it's like this. I get it. Divorce with children under the age of pretty much under any age, yeah, it's gonna basically leave them scarred, traumatized. It's gonna leave them with a whole bunch of emotions. But she left all of that towards Yasmin and not Josiah. And to me, with children, when it comes to divorce, it leaves an impact on them that they end up being in therapy. And that's what happened at the end of the book. Deja ended up having to have her own therapist, and they all in family therapy and things like that, even though they got their own individual therapists at the end of the day. And it's like this. To me, even if you're a grown child, I'm talking about in your 20s, 30s, and you hear that your parents are getting a divorce, yeah, even though that's going to sit here and hit you, but not as much. It's not going to hit you as much, because at the end of the day, you're already grown. You're at the house. You got your own life to live. Yeah, you're going to feel some type of way, but you have to understand that is grown folks' business. And even if you wasn't dragged into it, involuntary, yeah, you're gonna still have your say, but you have to let your parents work things out the way it's supposed to. So by the time the end of the book came, they ended up being back together and flourishing, and Josiah asked Yasmin to marry him again. So if you guys want to basically get this book, please read this book with an open mind. Yeah, it's in some parts, yeah, you're going to cry. You're going to basically feel what you feel. There are triggers in this book. Read the title page with the triggers. Read them. Because if you don't read them, you're going to sit here and be surprised. But this book is pretty much relatable to a lot of people with families, some people who are basically married but still end up divorcing and everything. But this book is basically relatable to me. I basically understood the whole entirety of the book. So if you guys want to sit here and go get this book, you can basically click the link in her bio. I'll tag her Instagram below. You go to Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, any other bookstores, black-owned bookstores to get this book, and two other books that she has that's a part of this series too. Cause I think the other two is about her two friends that's in this book too. So if you guys want to sit here and go get the book, go get it. There you go. And then in the next video, I'll be reading a book passage of one of the chapters in this book. So if you guys want to go get the book, go get it. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. Bye, guys.